It's a corporate job presentation. So the nonviolent crisis intervention values the philosophy of care, welfare, safety, and security by demonstrating respect, dignity, and empathy, providing support in a non-judgmental and person-centered way, providing emotional and physical support, acting in the person's best interest. So the first picture that we see here is going to be of anxiety, a person who is suffering from anxiety. As they come into the office, they may be suffering from anxiety, so we have to know how to deal with a person such as that. The second photograph that we see here is when a person begins to be defensive. They're screaming or they're elevating, and we have to know how to be able to actually de-accelerate them. So they're escalating, so we just have to help them and redirect them before it wouldn't help us to elevate ourselves, because it's only going to elevate them even more. So that's not what we want. We actually want to not escalate them, but de-escalate their behavior. So that's the picture that you see right here is actually a bad way to start with an offender. Sometimes in an instance, if you continue to accelerate, then it may become a risk behavior, and a physical intervention is going to be required. So this is what we want to avoid. We don't want to escalate them, we want to de-escalate them. And by de-escalating them, their tension is reduced, it's tension reduction, and we begin to see a person go from very elevated to de-escalating their behavior. So they have the risk behavior, the physical intervention, and then we begin to build a therapeutic rapport. A therapeutic rapport is we want to listen to them very carefully. We want to reestablish communication and reduce the tension. Sometimes offenders may become very apologetic after they realize that they elevated them. It could be that they apologize. So in this photograph, we can see that their space. So our personal space could be, what is a person's personal space? We have to be aware of that personal space and not be too close. So here we see intimate, personal, and social. 9 feet away is social, personal is 4 feet, and intimate. So more likely in an office setting, in our offices, we're probably going to be in the personal space. However, we always allow the offender to sit closest to the door. It seems strange, but we don't want to lock them into their office. So then this picture, again, we want to understand cultures. Some people don't want to be touched. Some people don't want to sit so close. Some people may be, it's just their culture. So we do have to understand everybody's culture as far as communicating and sitting close to them. In this photograph, we will notice that your nonverbal communication, you got a person there rolling their eyes, they look bored, they look uninterested. So we have to show that we are interested in what's happening in their lives. And so in this photograph, we can obviously, we don't definitely want to communicate bad body language. We don't want them to think that we're not interested in what they're saying, because as a social worker, as a criminal justice professional, we have to be understand that we're dealing with a lot of people with a lot of problems. We have to try to help them, and by showing our body language, it could be tremendous on them. Something as simple as a handshake, welcoming them, a smile on your face, saying hello, come on in, have a seat, what's going on, how's your life been, just communicating like you would anybody else. They're humans, so we just want to communicate with them to show our respect. Of course, at any point in time, an offender can be set off. So we always want to keep a support stance. You don't want to pick up your fist as if you're ready to box or fight with them. You just want to be aware, that as your body they become elevated, you want to keep your body at a supportive stance and not an aggressive stance. Paraverbal signals, your tone, the way your emphasis, yeah, whatever, yeah, okay, or your level, your pitch, your speed. If you're in a hurry and you're just you're just asking them a question, did you have any police contact, and you're not really paying attention. All those things can set a person off. And when you set them off, then you're just elevating their behavior, and that's not the goal of a professional probation and parole officer. You want to know your posture, know your proximity, your distance between the individual, but more, basically it levels out to respect. Just understand that you're in their time, they're in your time, and we have to respect each other. Always understand that you have to set your limits. So you always want to set limits with them. No, we're not going to accept this behavior, and this is the limit. So at that point, you would place the individual in cuffs for your own safety. But we definitely don't want to get to that. So it's important that we start with our empathetic listening skills. So we want to sit forward and maintain eye contact and try to understand their situation, try to help them find solutions for dealing with their issues and their problems. That is the goal of your probation and parole officer. But we also want to be fair and reasonable. We don't want to not listen to them, think that their situation or their issues are not important to us. We definitely want them to understand that we are fair and reasonable.